SENZ Test Cricket. England versus New Zealand.
Good morning and welcome to SENZ Test Cricket. It's day 5 of the second test between England and New Zealand, live from Nottingham, with thanks to Resene, New Zealand's most trusted paint brand and chemist warehouse. To the final day we go with this test, having motored along through an at times frenetic fourth day where 12 wickets fell to give both sides a sniff. England do look better placed despite having to bat fourth and 3 further wickets still to take before they start their chase. The Black Caps are already 238 in the black with Daryl Mitchell still there, but it's unclear what role, if any, Kyle Jamieson will play today. It's surely the case that he won't be able to bowl after breaking down on day 3. This really is the stuff we savour as Test cricket lovers. A final stanza with all results still firmly on the table and countless scenarios to ponder. I'm Adam Collins. And to begin our coverage today is former New Zealand captain Jeremy Coney. Daniel Norcross is also in our commentary position at the Radcliffe Road end of Trent Bridge. And Jeremy, looking out here, it is the most delightful day. Not a breath of wind, sun shining. It's free tickets today. They've sold every one of them or given away every one of them. It should be a packed house. Most exciting hours ahead.
Yeah, morning Adam, morning everybody. It is the best day of the test match in terms of weather. It is poised slightly towards England at the moment, and New Zealand have all the big task ahead of them, actually. But I can't predict this, and I don't think anybody can predict a game as nuanced as a game of Test match cricket. So what I'm going to offer is speculation only. And the first thing, I guess, I can only put some figures and put some variables and feed them in. The first thing is that really is New Zealand have scored at 3.8 in their first innings and 3.2 in their second innings. England have scored at 4.2 in their first innings. They score faster. That's with the bowlers. New Zealand will have one less bowler in their contingent today, and so everything seems to go at the phase right now with New Zealand 238 ahead, that this tail that remains, 3 tail enders and 1 batsman, Mitchell, with them, being able to organise New Zealand in the 11 overs for a start before the second new ball to get a balance between runs and not losing wickets. And then when the new ball arrives, somehow negotiating a way through the first maybe 10 overs. If New Zealand can take an hour out of the game, which is about 15 overs, that will help them a great deal. It will raise, first of all, their total, obviously, the target that England will have to chase. It will also give them less overs. The longer they can do that, the more chance they have of getting back into this game. At the moment, they're out of it. So the longer that New Zealand can arrange those things and not make mistakes, and the tail have made a lot of mistakes recently, the figures are against them, and they have to then confront things like courage, really basic things. Do not hit out wildly. Let the ball go. Get out of the way. Those kinds of things that Mitchell has to take an organisation of. I've batted a lot with tail enders. With Chatfield, we got 50 runs together, and we had to confront those issues. And they're going to be bounced today with Potts. Probably he'll bowl a few overs in these 11, and maybe Stokes. He's another one who can bounce, and even Broad bounced the ball yesterday. They might keep Anderson away for the new ball as it comes along. So whether they bowl Leach, I don't know. That might be a sort of slightly second option for them. They might want to toss it, get him to toss it up. So everything is on the table, but those tail enders have to face the fact of confronting their fears.
And that tail will include Kyle Jamieson, Daniel. We just received a text from the New Zealand camp saying that he definitely won't bowl, but he will bat. It was a bit unclear yesterday when he didn't walk out at number 8 or number 9 whether he physically could, but that bat complaint will be bad enough to keep him off the field when they defend whatever they defend, but will get the chance to hold up an end for at least some stage. I'm thinking 2 test matches last summer, Daniel, where England's courage from a cricketing perspective and their ability was drawn into focus against New Zealand at Lords when they wouldn't chase 277 in 75 overs, and at Lords against India when, in a similar situation to this, they couldn't finish off the tail They looked bereft of options. They tried to bounce out the tail. It backfired, and they were bowled out inside 2 sessions to lose a thrilling test at Lords. They feel a different team, though. Joe Root last night said, when speaking to Sky Cricket, that no matter what New Zealand set them, they'll have a pop today.
Well, yes, and that tells you they're terribly bad poker players, because what they could have done with is not saying things like that. Because New Zealand need to win this game. They've got to win this game to win the series. And actually, by saying, we'll have a go, whatever, that incentivises Mitchell to dig in. It incentivises New Zealand to take time out of the game. It incentivises that tail to bat for the hour and a half, as long as they possibly can. Because if they can get up to a lead of 300, potentially, and England have got 65 overs to do it in, well, we're going to go for it, because we're gung-ho. It's a bit idiotic, really. What they should be doing is saying, well, it's up to New Zealand to make the running in this game. They're not really playing very good psychological
Maybe
games.
not. I think the broader point he was trying to make, though, is that we're a team that believes that we could haul down a considerable... and they did that at Lords last week, of course.
Yeah, but they're always going to say things like that, because it's all part of a positive mindset and all this kind of nonsense. And you say these things, it's psychobabble. You say them before the start of play in order to sort of big yourself up. The simple fact of the matter is they've got a 69-over-old ball. They don't have very penetrating quick bowlers. They've got new ball bowlers. They've got a guy who they can't get out in at the moment, Daryl Mitchell. If New Zealand bat this sensibly, they could put England in all sorts of trouble later in the day. And now they've got Jameson back. That is a huge bonus for them. The problem that New Zealand have got is those tail-enders, as Jeremy was alluding to, just don't get in behind the ball. I mean, you sort of Trent Bolt. In the first innings, he had somebody to bat with. He just flings his bat at it. So, you know, I think you've got two sides that are a little bit naive, actually, in the way they go about playing Test cricket. In England's case, you've also got a side that has had a pretty horrendous time with the bat for about 4 or 5 years. I mean, the notion that knocking off 260, 270 would be child's play on this wicket. If Trent Bolt gets that ball swinging like he did in the first innings, if they get Root out, jitters, fear will return into that England side.
24 hours ago, Jeremy, we were talking about how New Zealand could construct a win. Now, it didn't quite play out as we thought it might, but the very fact that England have taken wickets does mean that it also increases New Zealand's chance of winning, only because they in all probability, will get a decent slab of overs at England. It's a strange situation where, by getting bowled out, it will aid them in the effort of taking 10 wickets. The issue will be whether they have sufficient runs on the board. But, I mean, there was one stage yesterday when it looked like the game was going to sleep. It's nowhere near that place now. The draw, I think Winvies have it at 55%. That's overdoing it. I think we're, at best maybe a 30% chance of a draw from here, because New Zealand need to win to stay in the series, and England want to push the game forward. That should provide New Zealand with some comfort, I think, that they can still win this Test match.
Well, as the overs decrease, that gives England also a good chance of having a go.
Yep.
And if they do happen to lose wickets, then they also have the chance to save the match.
Yep.
So they have two choices that they can make. New Zealand at the moment are not in the game. They are only in the game if they take overs out and get some runs. Now that becomes their key kind of approach in this first session. We will know at some stage, probably in this first session, what the target is going to be. They haven't been able to bat long enough. They've fluffed their lines, I'm afraid. And so that's why I don't think the variables that I was talking about, the pitch has done a little bit more. You'd expect that over 5 days. That's variable bounce a wee bit more, but not. You wouldn't call it excessive, would you? I don't think that. The pace of the outfield is still like glass, and that reduces that circle of around every fielder, which you can get to a ball. You can't do that on a surface like this because it can just push past you. The circle has become much smaller around each fielder where you can be in the game. You can't get to it, it passes you, gone. 4. So the run rates for England are higher than New Zealand, and they've got some dangerous players. Will they open with Lees? Who knows? They might open with Stokes. They can do all sorts of things that they can choose if they feel that the target is pretty high.
Yep.
And they can go for a crack. And so those options, I think, at the moment are available to England. New Zealand losing Jameson. The dangerous bowlers here has been Potts. Potts has been the dangerous one. Who in New Zealand can bowl like Potts? Jameson is gone. You know, you got Bolt, who, yes, will use a swing. Southey hasn't been in the game so far. No wickets for 150 of 30-plus overs. They've all bowled a lot of overs. I think their workloads.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. New Zealand need to earn the right to have options on this final day. Well put, Jeremy Coney. Thank you and Daniel Norcross for joining me at the start of our broadcast, which, of course, is for Resine, the paint the professionals use. And before we go to the break, I'll remind you that you can win $50, a voucher, I should say, for $50, thanks to the Good Spirits Hospitality Group. Check out the Fox News Zealand's #1 sports bar and their other 10 venues around the country. All you need to do is text in 8833 with your name and where you are listening. 8833 for a chance to win $50 thanks to the Good Spirits Hospitality Group. But we'll take a break now, and afterwards it'll be Nikesh Regani with Henry Moran and Jared Kimber.
Thanks for joining us once again here on SENZ Test Cricket in association with Resine, the paint the professionals use, and Chemist Warehouse. Nikesh Regani alongside Henry Moran and Jared Kimber here with around 15 minutes left until day 5 gets underway. And what a day 5 we have in prospect. New Zealand in their second innings will resume on 224 for 7. That gives them a lead of 238. We'd call it a slender lead on a pitch like this, where run scoring has been pretty quick, to say the least. New Zealand slowing down a little bit in this second innings, going at 3.2 runs and over, but we saw how England batted, going at over 4s in their total of 539 just a day and a half or so ago. So a big job here for Daryl Mitchell, who's on 32, Matt Henry and the rest of the tail to try and get New Zealand up to somewhere they'd feel comfortable without losing these final 3 wickets. England at the moment, you would say, Henry, 238 on the board, in the driving seat. And, you know, it's not a normal situation, is it, for a final day here? 238, it's, you know, usually a tough total on most day 5 pitches, but it's really quick scoring ground here, lightning quick outfield. New Zealand are bowled down as well. It's all in England's favour at the moment.
Yeah, this is a very different day 5 than you might see elsewhere, and certainly this is a ground where you'd back yourself to chase anything sub 300. I think if you've got the majority of 3 sessions to do that, you'd back yourself, and you know that you've always got the option to shut up shop if you need to. And so England's first task this morning will be to take those final 3 wickets, and they will be looking at, right, first of all, let's make sure it's not north of 300 that we're chasing. Let's just keep that in our mind, because that's when things might start to get a little bit awkward. I don't know what you think, Jared, but that for me feels like where they'll be thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just runs per over. So the total is really important, but I think on this pitch they will be thinking runs per over, because they will feel anything under 5 runs and over is very gettable, because it's been that kind of wicket. And you can always have a mad hour if you want and send Broad out, and you can even, you know, amp all that up. So I think the total is really important, but I don't think New Zealand's going to be able to put on enough to break England with a huge score. But they might be able to do a combination of taking time out and that, which makes it a little bit trickier for England.
So all these stats that we're looking at, useless when you see the pitch and the conditions in front of us. Sun is shining as well. Beautiful day here at Trent Bridge. It's going to be around 22, 23 degrees Celsius by this afternoon. Already pretty warm. You don't usually need an excuse to get your baseball cap on, Jared, but today, of much use to you to keep the sun off your face. England only chased down 300 or more in a 4th innings to win a test match 4 times in their history. Just one of them, Headingley 2019, in the last 20 years as well. All that is useless. High score on this ground, chased down to win a test match 284 back in 2004. So, you know, still 18 years ago against the same opposition, England chasing down against New Zealand. You don't think any of that comes into the reckoning today?
We saw 2013 Australia almost chased 300 here, and it's one of those things that you don't remember that there have been very high scoring draws as well, where teams have batted quite well. So you've got to factor all that in. I think that teams think about chases differently than we did 5 and 10 years ago, because of the power that players have and the way that they're willing to back themselves. That said, when you look at the data, still chasing over 300 is almost impossible, and it still happens very rare. It's just we play a lot more tests now, so it feels like it happens more often. But that doesn't matter, because the players feel different. And so I think when they see now, oh, no one's ever chased over 284, unless you're at a ground that's known for being impossible to bat on the last day. I don't think people ever take that seriously anymore. And we have seen decent, who was it? Alistair Cook bowling to Ishant Sharma on day 5. When was that? 2014?
Yeah,
14.
James Pattinson and Brad Haddon in that game I mentioned before. So we've certainly seen good batting on day 5 from players before. So I don't think England are going to be like, if they get over 300, that's game over. It might be game over. Just saying, they might not think that.
For New Zealand, it's worth thinking about, from their point of view, not to consider this a game purely of defence. And, we've got to think, OK, how many can we try and get ahead and scramble ahead, and then how much can we hold on? They've got to see this as an opportunity, because England will have this carrot dangled in front of them and will be going for it. There will be opportunities to take wickets. Yes, they're a bowler down. Yes, they've had a lot of time out in the field and bowled a lot of overs, but if Trent Boult gets in one of those moods, if Tim Southee has a better day than he's had in this Test match, and a few wickets start falling, if it's Root early on, suddenly New Zealand are right in this game to start thinking about winning it as well. So it's really crucial that we don't look at this purely as, well, how many are England going to be looking at to try and chase it down? This is a match where all 4 results are absolutely still possible.
And also, given the history of England's top 3, the recent history in the last couple of years, lots of chopping and changing, but these 3 guys in particular, yes, I know Pope got 100 in the first innings, and that'll make him feel like he belongs at this level, perhaps, but still, huge pressure on England's top order, and basically England's whole order, apart from Root, as you mentioned there, in the last couple of years. Psychologically, when the pressure's on, 4th innings, that target is in front of you. You've got a decent crowd in that is expected in today. Free tickets given out to all those who want to attend this 5th day, which could be a stonker. And all of a sudden, your mindset changes. You get a bit more tentative. That pressure weighs on your shoulders. Could that come into it?
Yeah, I think if you look at chasers as a fan, the amount of times when you watch it and they'll be like none for 60 and they're chasing 320 and you're like, they're really going to do this. Then they're bowled out for 110. It happens again and again, and there is a reason why teams don't chase very well in Test matches, and it's because batting in 5 days is not particularly easy. You only need the ball to slightly not do what you expect and you can be dismissed. In this case, and you're trying to score runs at a decent rate, we've seen balls. I wouldn't say the pitch is misbehaving in a way that if you were trying to block out a draw, you wouldn't be able to. But if you're trying to play shots, you're trying to play on the up, and suddenly a ball goes a bit higher or a ball goes a little bit lower, you can drag it back onto your stumps very easily. So they're going to know all of those things. I think it's almost because of what happened at Lord's, and also because England went so low, they almost have a free hit at this. Just like, we're just going to go out there and do what we want. So I don't think they should be too terrified. But once you get into a chase and you're 4 or 5 wickets down, it doesn't matter how your mindset is. It's tense.
The one thing that is slightly different in this venue compared to other final day chases is that typically, as the fielding side, you've got the ability to really limit the run scoring. You can spread the field and you can kind of shut up shop in the field, if you like. Here it's much harder to do that. We've seen boundaries have been so easy to come by over the course of the last 4 days that actually, if a side does want to get going, it is quite hard to stop them. And so that will just change things a little bit as we see Stuart Broad running out and getting the sort of response you'd expect as a group of traffic cones arrive.
You're just going to have a few little looseners there on the practice pitch, just to the right of the strip as we look over from the Ratcliffe Road end. So that would suggest, perhaps, I was going to ask this question as well, Broad and Potts to open up things this morning, maybe Stokes as well. We saw a lot of the short stuff towards the back end of yesterday. Do you think that's the way to go once again?
Stokes is probably their best bowler of the tail, isn't he? So I'd probably bowl him. Potts bowled so well yesterday, but I think they'd probably give it to one of the old fellas. So Broad makes more sense, and then you get save Potts and Anderson for the new ball. Maybe just a taste of Leach if you need him on the way to the new ball.
Interesting to see how Daryl Mitchell plays this as well, because he'll know runs could be crucial. He's got to also hang about, and those at the other end is vulnerable. So he's got loads of balls in the air to juggle.
Well, he's done it well so far. He will resume, Daryl Mitchell, on 32. Been out there for 95 deliveries. Matt Henry at the other end. Carl Jamieson will bat if required. Won't bowl, though. Not fit enough to bowl. Will try and hold up an end at some point when required, though. So New Zealand then will resume on 224 for 7. We'll be back with you, of course, for that first session in a few minutes' time. Do join us then. It's going to be a cracker.
The final moments at Jerusalem, SENZ Test Cricket. Thanks to Razine, the paint the professionals use. The England players are in a huddle, ready to roll. They have 3 wickets to take. New Zealand to resume at 224 for 7. The lead is 238. And this feels like a proper Day 5 atmosphere. All the tickets that were available were taken up. We found out yesterday afternoon it would be free entry today on Day 5. So there'll be a lot more people in today than there was yesterday as Jeremy Coney makes his way into the summariser chair. Hello again, Jeremy. We mentioned it before in our intro, but what a glorious morning for it.
Oh, yeah. It is. It's a fabulous day, really, and the crowd's going to be starting to build up, as you pointed out. Free entry today. Everyone had to sort of get on the website, didn't they? And they get their tickets. And so we're expecting a full crowd. That'll certainly, I think, if anything, if you feel a crowd can assist a sporting occasion, obviously it can give it an atmosphere. Whether it helps the players, that's a moot point, but some people do react to that emotion, and so you'd think that they would probably help England a little bit more than New Zealand.
What do we make of this? Jack Leach to start.
Yep, Jack Leach.
That was the bowler. That would be the 5th bowler I expected to get the first opportunity. I thought any of the frontline seamers or Stokes would be the first turn to. Maybe they're doing a change of ends or something like that. Either way, Leach from the pavilion end, first ball of Day 5. About to come. He's got a deep mid-wicket and a long on, so 2 out on the leg side.
Well, he got Henry in the first innings.
That's true. And it's Henry who's on strike. He's on 8. Mitchell down the other end on 32. Just being held to the top of the hour. Umpire Goff says play. Leach delivers. Round the wicket. Well forward is Henry, pushing out to cover. No run. We welcome listeners joining us in Sydney, Gold Coast, all over Queensland on the SEN Fanatic app as well. Leach bowls and edging and put down at first slip. That looked to carry to Joe Root. That's certainly the body language from the former captain.
Oh, yes, it did.
Down to his right. We're behind Root here. We'll get a replay in a moment on the Chemist Warehouse screen, I'm sure. Jeremy Coney, talk us through it.
Yeah, just coming forward. Pushed too hard. Henry had the hands out there. It's to the right. It's his right side. It's round about the shin height. Just down it. He's moved the foot out of the way, but he hasn't got the hands there.
Henry goes back and defends more solidly here. Well, an opportunity. England needed to... Well, they came here this morning in their pre-game interview saying they needed to create a few opportunities straight away. They've got one second ball, but it's not been claimed. Leach delivers. Silent crowd. Forward again is Henry in defence. We've seen a lot of catches drop behind the wicket through this series, haven't we?
Oh, it's hard to know why.
What do you think? Something's fundamentally changed? Leach bowls, Henry goes back, forces the backward point. Potts does the fielding, no single, outside part of the blade again.
Nothing's fundamentally changed.
I guess, like from a technical perspective,
technically,
you know, like, is there anything about the rhythms of Test cricket that you've seen that adds to this? I'm just trying to get to the, you know, in your era. Leach to finish his over. Henry beaten, no, pushed behind point again. Just for a moment, I thought it snuck through. So that is the end of the first over of the 5th day. It's a maiden, but there was a drop catch. Henry put down at first slip by Joe Root. It stays at 224 for 7. The lead 238.
Well, some good fortune for New Zealand, wasn't it, really? I mean, they need to take overs out of this game. They need to try, in other words, they need to bat longer, as long as they can, to make this target, whatever it will be that they set England, quite a difficult equation in order to create a risky kind of approach from the England batsmen when they try and chase it. I just see it as a skill set that you need to have developed a habit. Now, Joe Root he stands quite wide. His legs are much wider than the shoulders as a guide. And I think you can't move, you see. And that was a problem with movement, to get the hands to the ball. His hands are on his knees. These are things I've talked about, Adam, as you know, and I don't like to repeat them. It was almost as if he wasn't ready for it. Well, he was surprised by it.
Yeah, he reacted very late.
And yet it was third ball or something like that in the day.
So Ben Stokes will get the first opportunity at our broadcast end, the Radcliffe Road end at Trent Bridge.
Right, we're going to see...
So the field's spread apart from the slip. Mitchell's on 32. They'll give him the single. Off his pad. into the onside, and they take the single first ball. Maybe a leg bye. We'll wait for umpire rifle. Either way, that's the first run of day 5. It is a leg bye, 225 for 7. The lead 239.
There's the first decision. The decision making when you're with the tail, if you're a batsman, is critical. And you've got to work with them and see them through the problems that they have. They're not the best batsmen in the team. That's why they're down in the tail. And so you need to reassure them for a start. You're okay out here. You're okay. You can handle this. We just need to watch the ball. Basic things, Adam.
The field's also spread for Matt Henry, by the way. 2 out on the leg side, a third man. Stokes bowls short, sways out the way. That was a potent bouncer right on target. Henry handled it pretty well.
Well done,
all the way
Henry.
through.
Yes, well done. He's favouring the sag at the knees approach instead of just ducking and not looking at it. He's watched it basically the whole way, and it's past him quite close, but for a lot of people. But no, that's comfortable for a batsman.
Stokes is a leg gully and a short leg, deepish leg gully. He bowls here, and again short, swaying out the way. More a backward square leg really, where they had Tom Blundell caught cooking yesterday. So 2 short balls to start. Stokes is over.
One just side issue here. Who in New Zealand can bowl like this at the moment that Stokes? These short deliveries, we've seen it from Potts as well. We saw it a bit from Broad yesterday. And there's only one, and that's Jameson, really. Wagner, of course, not playing.
Well, I was going to say, the guy who's not in the team.
Yeah.
Stokes, away from us. Bowls here. Nice shot off the back foot, Matt Henry. First runs off the blade for the day. Gets himself a 4. Just sat up to be hit, and he obliged. Henry to double figures. He's 12. New Zealand 229 for 7. That lead up to 243.
And that's a Mitchell saying, very good. That's exactly what we need from you, and more of them. So that's one out of the way. See, that's a little bit of width, and that says a message to the bowlers. You can't bowl anything you like at me. You can't bowl out wide and let it sit out there. Now, you see, Ban goes out there.
So 4 out for Henry. Deep third, deep point, long leg, deep square on the short boundary. Stokes to the crease here to Henry, who defends. So the catching men are a short leg, a gully, and a man around the corner at backward square. And I suppose that the other catching men might be for the top edge if Henry takes on the short ball. But yeah, it wasn't necessarily expecting it to start quite like this.
3 things so far that Mitchell can put in his mind to just go down for that reassurance and say, you're doing well.
Last ball of Stokes is over. Bowls here short. Takes it on Henry. Doesn't get an edge. Ever so close to doing so. Through to the gloves, so folks. We'll come back to that point after our break. Jeremy Coney, New Zealand are up to 229 for 7, and our coverage is for Resine, the paint the professionals use.
This is Ben Stiller, Goodwill Ambassador for UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. Your help is needed now. Vulnerable people are being forced to flee. They need emergency shelter. They need blankets and basic relief items. Please go online to unrefugees.org.au to give what you can today. Families are scared and need life-saving support. Australians can make a difference. Just go online to unrefugees.org.au.
The great Australian dream is still to own your own home. The problem is, the dream usually ends with this sound. But now, South Australians can stop home dreaming and start home owning. Thanks to HomeSeeker SA. HomeSeeker SA gives you exclusive access to fixed price homes before investors get a look in. So don't dream on. Move in. To check your eligibility and see homes for sale, go to homeseeker.sa.gov.au.
How often does Ben Stokes bowl a front foot no ball with the last delivery of his over? He's done so here. We'll now see Stokes' 6th ball. He tried to bowl it during the break, but Paul Rifle sent him back to the top of his mark. So on the way to Henry again, Stokes bowls and Henry sways out the way of a short ball. That's the end of the over. Well played, Matt Henry. He's 12 from 20 balls. Mitchell is 32 from 96. The lead's up to 244 with New Zealand 230 for 70. 230 for 7 rather, not for 70, for 7.
Mitchell down talking. That's good to see.
So you did this a lot. You mentioned in the pre-game that that you, owing to where you batted in the order, would often be with the tail. How did you engineer those conversations like this?
Well, you'd be talking about you know, saying, it's okay, do you think we can get this many? Let's get 5. This is a fast outfield. We're allowing for a bit in that, but you can look... Well done on hitting the boundary. Excellent stroke too, actually. A good cricket stroke. You got under the rest of the balls extremely well. You played a forward defence with a straight bat, straight back down to the bowler. No need to play the uppercut. No need to play the uppercut with the deep third man. And no need for that. You'd done your job in the over.
So a lot of positive reinforcement.
Absolutely.
So Jack Leach will continue. They're making a change here. So they're going to have 3 out on the leg side for Mitchell, plus the long off, the deep point. So 5 men back. The catching man is route at slip. Mitchell's on 32. Leach bowls to him here. And he sweeps, gets it fine. We'll get at least a couple. He's placed that really well. Broad with work to do to cut it off. And does just. And wins the applause of his home fans here at Trent Bridge. They get back for a third. New Zealand... Well, they're happy with the second. No, they were just happy for 2 there. I thought they were going to come back for 3.
Well, Mitchell was interested, wasn't he? He's not thinking by doing that. He's got to keep his own mind on his own game when he's facing.
I suppose early in the over he wants to face Leach.
Yes, he does.
232 for 7, the lead 246, Mitchell 34. That was a good shot. Premeditated, but backing himself on that angle. Plays that stroke so well. Mitchell plays conventionally here from the crease, out towards square leg. Ben Folkes has to do the fielding, the wicket-keeper. Mitchell 35, the lead 247.
One of the key things to play a spinner, of course, if you're a tail-ender, is just to give him just let the ball come to you a little bit more. Don't go out to meet it. Allow the ball to come to you. Play it a little bit later.
So 2 men stay back on the leg side for Henry. Long on, deep mid-wicket. Henry plays down to long on. An easy single, good batting. Lead 248. They've added 10 runs this morning. Henry's 13. 7 wickets down. Great opportunity here. No real energy in the crowd as yet. Back to Mitchell. Gets forward and defends, and Leach does well, moving to his left. They could have taken a single there to long off had they beaten the bowler.
Now, will the field change?
2 balls left. He's bringing Stuart Broad up on the 1
for the sweep.
That backward square. They'll keep out
and himself
the deep point, and yes, at long off he comes up as well. So 3 men back. Leach delivers here, and Mitchell comes forward and defends out towards cover where there's no single to lees.
Now more up, surely.
Yeah, here comes.
Yeah, they all come.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, every one of them's going to come up here. So they're saying to Mitchell, if you want to go over the top, here's your chance, mate. Mitchell's faced 100 deliveries for his 35. Just 1 catching man, though. That's the slip. Leach delivers, and Mitchell doesn't beat mid-wicket on the clip. So the strike returns to Matt Henry. The lead 248 with New Zealand, 234 for 7. SENZ Test Cricket. For Resine Colour Shops for expert paint and colour advice. The highest chases at Trent Bridge. Graphic flashing up on the screen as they tend to do when you're nearing the end of a 3rd innings. We know that anything up towards 300 will be tough. But England have signalled that they're keen. Should make for a fascinating final day. Ben Stokes will be bowling a Henry here on 13. Out goes deep backward point and quite a fine deep third, fine leg and deep square. So 4 back behind square on the rope. Here comes the short barrage. How will Henry respond? Stokes to the crease. Bouncer. Oh, he tries to play it, ends up on his back. Wanted to place that over the keeper's head. He was floored by Stokes. Lucky not to make contact in the end.
Yeah, just keep the hands out of the way, really. That's trying to do too many things. Save himself. These are the sort of times with the courage, the aspect of courage, and you've just got to just watch the ball, and if he wants to roll out of the way like that, that's fine. There wasn't really an attempt to actually looking at that now.
Yeah, on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen, the bat just happened to be there.
Yeah,
he was trying to do the right thing. Stokes delivers to Henry, short again. This time he ducks in the nick of time.
Well, the more he faces these deliveries, the more he's able to realise that it's not as threatening as it may look to everybody. Henry can bat. He's got 50s in Test cricket before.
Well, he made that unbeaten half-century against South Africa earlier this year.
Yeah. This is a tense one.
Stokes on the approach. Passes umpire rifle. Short again. Bowls here. It is. Of course it is. And Henry once again ends up on his back. Good contest, but got to admire Henry for trying to watch the ball. He's not just turning his head away. He's trying his best to watch it late, then losing balance.
Yes. Yeah, that seems to be his method. He is down watching the ball for a start. You're right. The head is over about off stump. And then he sees it short, and then he rocks back and then falls over.
And they're the two bounces for the over gone as well. So Stokes will have to keep it below shoulder height for the last 3 deliveries. Bowls here. Back of a length. Henry with short leg dabs it down in that direction on the bounce to Ollie Pope. Again, getting in line with the ball.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things that Mitchell again going down. That you've just got to keep reassuring and saying this is good. You're doing that well. Watch out for this. And remind him all the time that things are going to get easier for him. It's not going to get worse than this. It's going to get easier.
Matt Henry has a test batting average of nearly 20. Can play. Stokes here. Short. Has a little prod at this, which was what he did the previous over. I'm wondering how Stokes has gotten away with bowling on the short one there, but he has.
Well, that's 2 now. They're just signals it now, haven't they?
Then what were the ones earlier in the over? Odd. That should have been enough, but so it goes. The score remains 234 for 7. A reminder, if you text in today, we're giving away $50 vouchers thanks to the Good Spirits Hospitality Group. Food and drink vouchers. Check out the Fox, Auckland's #1 sports bar, or any other of their 10 venues. Simply text it in New Zealand, 8833, your name and where you're listening to this compelling final day. Stokes changing angle for the final ball. Round the wicket. And that's short too. And Henry just shuffles inside the line, lets it fly over his left shoulder. Good batting. A maiden complete. The lead's 248. New Zealand 234 for 7. Our coverage for Rosine, the paint the professionals use.
From first-time browsing to big-time arousing, Sexyland is all about fun. We have Australia's biggest range of sexy costumes, couples' toys, fun gifts and games for adults. And our team of fun specialists are always here to help in-store and online. Sexyland opens 7 days until midnight at Morphett Vale and Clovelly Park, or shop online and get 2-hour delivery.
This is Ben Stiller, Goodwill Ambassador for UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. Your help is needed now. Vulnerable people are being forced to flee. They need emergency shelter. They need blankets and basic relief items. Please go online to unrefugees.org.au to give what you can today. Families are scared and need life-saving support. Australians can make a difference. Just go online to unrefugees.org.au.
Ball. Jack Leach continues. Field spread for Mitchell. First ball of the over. Lunges forward to negate any spin that might be there, which we haven't detected much of as yet. No run back down the pitch. Leach has 1 for 82. This is his 23rd over. Bowls here round the wicket, and again Mitchell comes forward and knocks it on the head.
I mean, it's not really time to talk about technical matters, is it, really? But
tough when Leach is bowling.
Yeah, well, Leach really goes beyond the perpendicular all the time.
Bowls here. Mitchell takes an easy single to deep backward square. Stuart Broad does the fielding. He's 36, the lead's 249.
I mean, what he does is he collapses the back leg, and then therefore his front leg has to point right out, and he gets very wide on the crease. But he's having to lean over, of course, because of the collapsed back leg.
Right.
And so his head, if you put a line up from his front foot, his head is way inside the line, and so is his arm. And so he can't get the turn that he needs. And he's not as accurate as he would really like to be either for that reason. He should be right over that front foot.
Yeah. Doesn't get any overspin, does he? He's trying to get side spin, but it's just not there. Now gets a chance at Henry on 13, who comes forward as well to defend out to cover. Henry doing his job so far this morning.
Is there any reason why there's no one actually in on that forward defensive stroke, sort of just pressurising Henry to feel uncomfortable?
It's like they're waiting for the second new ball. Bowling here is Leach and defended out to cover, no run.
Well, you would hope that if I was an England player, I wouldn't want that to happen. That could be, at the current rate, that's New Zealand another 30-odd runs. 3.2 runs, per over at the moment in this innings.
Out goes deep backward square. Leach bowls and Henry comes forward. They want him to take a single to end the over. He won't. 74 gone. That's another maiden. Henry's doing well so far. He remains on 13. The lead stays on 249. SENZ Test Cricket for Brazilian Colour Shops for expert paint and colour advice. 5 overs so far this morning. Stokes to bowl the 6th. In here, delivers to Mitchell, who takes one of the myriad singles available to him to deep point. There are 7 men out when Mitchell's on strike at the moment. That makes the lead an even 250 and a little box ticked along the way, Jeremy Coney.
Yeah. They've obviously decided that they're going to take the runs, aren't they? I mean, spreading the field like this, it means that Henry's just got to accept that he's going to have to face a few more deliveries. So far, generally, he's handled the short pitch ball okay because he's watched it. He's looked a little bit, a little bit of discomfort in actually the evasion component of that, so it doesn't hit him. But he's actually watched it quite nicely.
Stokes into Henry on 13, short. First one of the over. Sways back, watches it into the gloves of folks. His bat's there and thereabouts, but I don't think he's trying to.
No, he's not trying to hit it. I don't think so. There is a third. It's quite a fine third, isn't there? And so it's a dangerous stroke to try and ramp it down there. There's also a man at quite backward of point. So they're covering that kind of area, which says I can bowl a ball over the off stump and not be hit for 4.
Just a short leg in close, Ollie Pope. Stokes delivers to Henry, short. Henry again ends up on his back for the 4th time this morning. He won't mind at all.
That looked a little less convincing from Henry. Just needs, that down goes Mitchell again. That's, that was just straight at the head, and he didn't actually pull that away till the last moment, and it was more of a shrug, wasn't it?
Can't be easy for fast bowlers walking out there facing hostility like this from Stokes. England's enforcer, the captain, to Henry. Back of a length, Henry cuts it, beats Broad at point, runs away for 4. Misfield. And it's costly. Henry to 17, his second boundary of the morning, the lead to 254. New Zealand 240 for 7.
Yeah, that's a mistake from the field. Of course, the field is so fast, and he's also on a position where he's about the foot marks, isn't he, on some of those other pitches? Yeah. And that you can get a nasty bounce in those areas sometimes with the foot marks.
And he did get a nasty bounce. Yeah. The Chemist Warehouse screen shows that on the replay.
Nevertheless, Adam, it was a good stroke again, a good strike from the New Zealander. This is his most important innings of the tour.
Who knows, it might prove to be the most important of his career. Stokes to Henry again. Plays him behind square. The first time he's used the bat in that direction today. Just off his hip. Joe Root does the fielding, no single.
Well, that's interesting because Stokes is now changing things. He starts the cricket transaction, doesn't he, the bowler? So he's now decided that he's going to pitch the ball up a little bit more and sort of try and bring the bat into play. Henry was alert to it because he watched it.
So last ball here. Crowd yet to really get involved. Stokes to finish his over, the 75th of the innings. Delivers to Henry, who goes back and defends. Great batting, Matt Henry. He's 17, the lead's 254 with New Zealand 240 for 7. After the break, we'll have a change in commentary. Daniel Norcross and Henry Moran coming in to join Jeremy Coney. Our coverage is for Resine, the paint the professionals use.
Ian Smith, he calls it as he sees it. It's mornings on SENZ.
Baz is a rare breed, and his first task is against us. We are the target. It's like if Richie or Dan were coaching the Wallabies, plotting our downfall. When I think Warriors, first name I think of in their history, Stacey Jones. Absolutely, total respect for him as a player there. What a job. Don't expect too much, and don't punish Stacey Jones from the immediate outcome of this, to be fair.
9 to 12 weekdays, mornings with Ian Smith on SENZ.
Welcome back. Test cricket on SEN with Resine, the paint the professionals use, as Leach starts his 4th over of the day. Forward comes Mitchell, pushes in defence into the offside. There's no run. We have got, how many overs now until the new ball? 4.5 overs until the new ball becomes available. Slip, backward point, extra cover mid-off, Leach in, forward comes Mitchell again, defending into the offside. There's no run. It's been a perfect start for New Zealand.
Well, if New Zealand are going to set a target where risk is higher for the England side to chase whatever the target will be.
Leach in, paddle sweep. Folks anticipated it, moved to his left, but he's got it past Folks as Mitchell, and he'll pick up a couple of runs as that just dribbles down to a fine leg position. 242 for 7.
They were always going to have to face the new ball, weren't they? Yes. And they had to 11 overs. They weren't going to score enough runs for it to be the equation that New Zealand would like. So they have to do that. And so far Henry's playing his part very much, don't you think?
Absolutely, batting exceptionally well at the moment. Forward comes Mitchell and just clips the ball up to wide, long on, and they amble through for a single. Mitchell's perfectly comfortable letting Henry take strike. We've seen that. They've taken whatever runs are on offer.
Well, I think you have to do that. And you discussed that beforehand. You know, we're going to get 4 balls where I'm on strike, and are we going to take them? How do you feel? Happy? Well, there's some bowlers you don't want to face. Which ones are they? And those are the sorts of decisions you make before you actually kind of get out onto the pitch.
Leach with his short approach comes in around the wicket to Henry. Henry pushes in defence. Back to the bowler. There's no run. Nothing flamboyant from Henry. This New Zealand tail has been accused of being a trifle devil-may-care in the past. But Henry is bucking the trend here. Leach in and forward again. Comes Henry in defence. End of the over. 3-4 more to go until the new ball's available. New Zealand lead by 257.
Well, I hope that the others, the remaining tail enders in Jameson particularly, and then Bolt, and I'm afraid Jameson just has to bat. I'm not going to talk injuries and all that sort of stuff. Let's just forget that for a second. He has to bat. It's his important innings too of the tour. All the tail enders here today. This is a critical match for New Zealand. Their tour sort of rests on it, and at the moment it's in the balance. So all the tail enders have got to take pleasure from lasting an over. And they're watching Henry out there, and it is a bit uncomfortable for him, but he's lasting it out, and he's sending important messages to those two guys.
Mitchell on strike now with the field wildly spread. There's one slip in, everyone else pretty much on the boundary, and Mitchell just defends into the slip region. It's picked up by that one slip. There's no run. Morning, Henry.
Good morning to you, Daniel. Yeah, interesting first 25 minutes or so.
Cerebral, isn't it?
It is. It's a real battle, and it's a test for both sides, and so far New Zealand coming through with flying colours.
Yep. Well, England got a chance on the second ball of the day, wasn't it?
19 runs so far.
Here's Stokes, and Mitchell just push drives into the offside. There's acres of space. He finds a fielder on the edge of the square, but they get through for a single and happy to take it. So now Stokes will presumably bowl 4 bouncers. Poor old Matt Henry.
Interesting quote from Stuart Broad this morning.
Oh, yes.
Speaking to our colleagues over at the BBC. And it's sort of regarding how England's new team approach things, if you like. He said, we will go for anything. That's the mindset. Whatever comes our way, we're going to have a look at it.
Idiocy. Marvellous idiocy. Don't give away your hand. Absolute lunacy. I mean, basically, this means that New Zealand are incentivised to set England 360 overs.
Well, yes, too right. And more, and make it more difficult if you can.
Yeah, bat out the overs, it means it takes risk out of New Zealand's play as Stokes is in. And Henry sways out of the way of another bouncer and ends up on his haunches, and there's no run. I just think it's insane. I mean, what you'd say if you were really wanting to play the psychobabble game is, well, we'll have a look. We're 1-0 up in the series. If they offer it something, or if we bowl them out, then fair enough. But
I don't think you'd find New Zealand offering.
Well,
I think
if you want them to, then the worst thing to do is to say we'll chase anything. That's just silly. It's like naming your team before the game, the day before. It's stupid, but Stokes is in. Oh, short inside edge onto the body, rolls down to Folkes. There's no run. For once, it wasn't so short, it was threatening his throat. This time it was more loin area.
Yeah, he can play that height, and he realised just a little bit late because he was anticipating another bouncer, and suddenly it wasn't, and he wasn't quite in the position to play the ball. He's got to watch the ball at delivery and then make the decision.
Change of angle from Stokes. He's coming round the wicket.
Yeah, that's a bit more awkward as well.
Waspish, isn't it?
Yeah. Into that sort of
forward short leg in and a leg gully as Stokes is in, and Henry goes across his crease and turns the ball to that leg gully, but there is no run. One ball to go in the over.
It's often that round the wicket to a right hand. If you don't just open your body in alignment up towards the bowler, you get a little bit of a blind spot where the ball, you just don't quite see it that split second early enough. So he's just got it. There you are. He's opened up a bit more now.
Here's Stokes to complete the over. Around the wicket to Matt Henry. And Henry, is just fending away from his body in the air down to deep backward point. It wasn't far away from the man, but a kind of catching point. But Henry survives again. This is very brave stuff from the New Zealand tailender. At the end of the over, New Zealand 245 for 7.
From first-time browsing to big-time arousing, Sexyland is all about fun. We have Australia's biggest range of sexy costumes, couples' toys, fun gifts and games for adults. And our team of fun specialists are always here to help in-store and online. Sexyland opens 7 days until midnight at Morphett Vale and Clovelly Park, or shop online and get 2-hour delivery.
This is Ben Stiller, Goodwill Ambassador for UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. Your help is needed now. Vulnerable people are being forced to flee. They need emergency shelter. They need blankets and basic relief items. Please go online to unrefugees.org.au to give what you can today. Families are scared and need life-saving support. Australians can make a difference. Just go online to unrefugees.org.au.
With Resine Colour Shops for expert paint and colour advice. And, there's a slight change of hue out there now. With a Stuart Broad, I say the local lad, Nottinghamshire player, of course, comes on from the pavilion end, replaces Leach. He's having like an over to warm up, do you think? Is that what's happening here, Henry Moran?
I would sense so. It's... You'd have thought, not an indication that we're going to see Matthew Potts taking the second new ball, which is available in 3 overs. It feels more like it's going to be, as you say, it's going to be a little case of get the juices going, juices flowing,
yes,
knees up,
yes, get in the groove,
all those sort of things. He's a little, he's a little older now. He needs to have a little bit more time to rev up,
cranked up like an old car.
Leach, 4 overs too many. I don't think he created any problems for either batsman after that first over or second over. Just the value of trying him, he then should have been pulled out for me. He created a little chance, but nothing there has looked vaguely like a chance after that. And some runs have come.
We've got a short-pitched bowling field here. Leg gully, forward short leg, gully, backward point, deep backward point. No one in front of square on the offside. Mid-wicket, fairly deep feet, backward square leg. Broad into Henry, who sways out of the way of a bouncer. And there is no run. The crowd getting exercise now.
He's got an elastic back, hasn't he, Matt Henry?
Henry, yes, he's flexible.
Does a limbo.
Oh, he does.
And that's what that's the move he's using. All those years on the dance floor has been coming to, I think he's using it very nicely at the moment.
You've been out
I think I'd say to him, I don't think you'll get the steepness of bounce, Broad, that you've had to face so far. This won't be quite so difficult.
Well, here is Broad. Into Mitchell. That's Henry, I beg your pardon. It sways again. Wide of the off stump. It's round the wicket, Broad, as well.
That isn't a threat, that bowling. This is a warm-up kind of looking over so far. And that's what you say to Henry. He's not the same pace as Stokes, who's running in hard. You've seen it from round the wicket so far. You've coped with it okay. Good. Get out of the way. Good. Keep saying those little things to him.
Broad.
That bat down. Get it out of the way.
Top of his mark. Comes in now, round the wicket. Henry pushes away from his body to a short ball, finds backward point, goes to him quickly, and there's no run. This is all about the new ball from England, though, isn't it? They're trying to get through these overs as cheaply as possible until that new ball.
Well, New Zealand have got, 21 runs so far today?
In 8.5 overs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's about the threes that we've been talking about.
Sun is out. Crowd is filling up. It's a curious sellout today because no one's bought a ticket. And those that did buy a ticket are being refunded. It's very curious.
It's very nice, the money going the other way.
Isn't it? Isn't it? That's a redistribution, the Robin Hood aspect of the English Cricket Board. Who knew it existed?
In these parks as well.
Yeah. Who is their flyer cup? Very good point from you, Henry. You've completely forgotten about Robin Hood, even though we're saturated by him in Nottingham. Broad in, short, too short, swayed away. Henry's getting into his work now. He's liking it. He's bouncing back up.
There was almost
come on, bring it on.
There was a little moonwalk after
There was. But talking about these dances, I've seen you on the dance floor. I've seen Jeremy dancing in my kitchen.
How does Jeremy dance?
You haven't seen me dance in the kitchen.
Have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
To what?
I think it was David Bowie at the time.
Okay.
Starman, you were going quite large. Now he's gone for that. Edge slip was taken. It was short, he went for the pole. It was a hook, really. It got big on Henry. That's the first wicket of the day. A palpable nick. It flew through to folks. Broad is being mobbed. And Henry just lost patience. Dear, oh dear. 8th wicket goes down. The game is afoot. New Zealand 245 for 8. Jeremy Coney.
Yes, Henry's made 2 efforts, hasn't he? He tried to get out of the way first, but he realised it wasn't quite as steep. And then he tried to essay a hook at it as well, and he's just got feathered a little edge through, and he'd be disappointed because he's actually handled deliveries like that quite comfortably. So a mistake, and again a misjudgment. So the change in bowling has worked, and now Jamieson, the tall figure of Jamieson,
the giant redwood.
Yep, is going to come out and see what he does. They've just got to keep it, but Henry's done his little thing. There's 20 runs there for New Zealand. Now Jamieson's got to set about his 20. And if that can happen, then New Zealand will get 60 or 70 or 80 runs. And if they can do that, of course, the unknown thing is the new ball, and the unknown thing is how Jamieson's going to play. He can bat. He's opened the batting before when he's earlier on in his school, life and so on. So he knows how to handle a bat.
Worth pointing out, just prior to that wicket falling, Win Predictor, seen on our Chemist Warehouse replay screen, said
draw what?
Draw was 75%, and then New Zealand marginally favourites ahead of England to win the game.
Really?
Yes. You don't believe in this Win Predictor?
Not at all. Not at all. Just shows you how reliable Win Predictor is.
We're playing a little dance today on SEN. Jeremy's one of us is probably going to be proved wrong, or it could just be a draw.
Yeah. And Win Predictor will be proved
Call
right.
it a draw. Yeah, Win Predictor will be right. Right. Broad to the new bat. Forward short leg, gully, back to point. Same field, basically. He's in now to Jamieson. And Jamieson gets up on his toes, tries to defend this ball into the onside, and he does, but it's in the air briefly. It didn't reach the mid-wicket. The crowd are really getting into this. New Zealand at the end of the over, 245 for 8.
This is Ben Stiller, Goodwill Ambassador for UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. Your help is needed now. Vulnerable people are being forced to flee. They need emergency shelter. They need blankets and basic relief items. Please go online to unrefugees.org.au to give what you can today. Families are scared and need life-saving support. Australians can make a difference. Just go online to unrefugees.org.au.
Think you couldn't buy a house in your wildest dreams? Well, maybe it's time to wake up. and get on the path to home ownership with Home Seeker SA. Home Seeker SA gives you exclusive access to fixed priced homes, along with all the information and advice you need to navigate the home buying process. So stop home dreaming, start home owning. To check your eligibility and see homes for sale, go to homeseeker.sa.gov.au.
Test cricket on SENZ with Resine, the paint the professionals use. So crowd is getting very exercised now. They've had their wicket. They responded to it very well, I thought. With the excitement you would hope. Stokes is still in the attack. 2 overs to go until a new ball becomes available. The field is spread. Slip is in. Mitchell's on strike. He has 41. New Zealand lead by 259. And suddenly the pace of the game is slowing down. As Stokes runs away from us from the Radcliffe Road end. And Mitchell gets a full toss, which he just pushes out into the covers and takes a single. Odd bit of cricket, that, wasn't it? And there's a man behind me brandishing a bat. It's Adam Collins. He doesn't. He tries to do the twiddle, not quite as adroitly as Alex Stewart or Ollie Pope. The bat twiddle. Gosh, do you like it, Jeremy?
Piece of willow. I'd like to see more grains. We always list like up to 19 grains, but they are parallel, which says that it's quite a nice piece of willow. Look, he's worried about marks on it now. That's just the seam of the ball.
Is this your one, Colo, not mine? Right. I haven't felt yours. How heavy is it? Oh, yeah, it's a bit of a chunky piece of timber, though.
English willow.
Only 9 grains.
Yeah.
Here comes Stokes. Into Jameson. Short ball, pulled round the corner, out towards deep backward square leg, in the air for a while. What a strange shot. For the second ball, gets a single though as it goes down to the fielder, which will bring Mitchell back onto strike and necessitate a lengthy field change. What's happening? What's happening behind me?
I'm just having a look at the handle. It's
purple.
It is. It's sort of purple.
Colour of the Emperor.
It is.
Emperor Colo.
Sort of bulbous.
Bulbous? It is somewhat, yes. Yes. It's periscopic. Here's Stokes. Into Mitchell. Mitchell pulls out towards deep mid-wicket, and they amble a single. 248 for 8. The lead now, 262.
Well, the only thing about Jameson hooking is that he always hooks from low to high, which means the ball goes up in the air, and so it brings the outriders on that boundary into play, particularly the man behind square. There's also a deep mid-wicket, and someone, if he mishits it as well, at a kind of a sort of straightish mid-wicket, but deep as well.
Yep. Here's Stokes into Jameson. It's short, he ducks.
That's
through the folks. You're happier now?
Yeah, I am. Much happier, and he actually, mind you, it was actually over his back, so it was leg side, and it's an easy one to leave.
It's going to be tricky though to do a lot of swaying around if you've got a really stiff lower back, isn't it?
And you're 6'8".
He's not a short man.
No, balance becomes an issue the taller you get as well. So, the bat pad's gone in now. There we go.
Here's Stokes. He's in. Jameson pulls through to Folks. Doesn't get an edge on it though. Briefly, there was a thought. It was very high. Getting it up that high to Jameson must be a bit of an effort.
I don't like any of that. I'd rather have Matt Henry handling it the way he was, letting go.
You were much calmer.
I think it just seems to me a sensible way to go about it.
Last ball of the over. Mitchell 43. Jameson 1.
Jameson feels he can't get out of the way.
Here's Stokes. Into him. And he ducks. Much, much better. End of the over on SEN. After the break, we're going to have a change. Nikesh Ragani and Craig McMillan are going to join us with New Zealand 248 for 8.
Test cricket for Resine, the paint the professionals use. Nikesh Ragani alongside Craig McMillan here. New Zealand then 248 for 8. That lead creeping up to 262. Matt Henry, one man out this morning. Caught by Folks off a short delivery from Stuart Broad. Could have been gone a lot earlier. We're just seeing Macca on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen. That drop from Joe Root early on. Could that be a big moment, that allowed them another 21 odd runs.
First over of the day, it was.
Yep. Third ball.
Continuing the theme throughout this test match, Nikesh, in terms of chances have been put down and they've proved costly for both teams.
Right, it's going to be Daryl Mitchell on strike here. He's unbeaten on 43. Stuart Broad from the pavilion end. And he comes short of a length and just pushed off the back foot out towards point. They do take the single. He's been happy to do this, hasn't he? Expose the lower order batters to the strike.
I think every run counts. I think the positive thing from New Zealand's point of view is they've batted 10 overs so far, so they're taking overs away from England, and I think that's really important because, you know, Brendan McCullum has come in with this positive mantra in terms of how he wants England to play Test cricket. So they're going to chase anything, whatever the number is at the time New Zealand dismissed. England are going to go after it, so it's going to be entertaining, and there will be a winner today, but one of these two sides is going to win this Test match at the end of day 5. So it's going to be a fascinating, entertaining day of Test cricket.
It is all set up beautifully as Broad comes around the wicket this time to Jamieson, short, and he goes for a hook. There's an appeal for a catch behind, and he's given. He's globbed one through there to Ben Foakes, who did well, actually, low down to take that catch. It looked for a moment as though he may have fumbled it. He holds on, and Jamieson has to make his way back. Broad with another from another short delivery. New Zealand just the 1 wicket remaining now. That lead 263.
Yeah, not ideal from New Zealand's point of view. Jamieson was obviously going to take it on. Just got a wee feather, and then it swung. It was a good catch. Reverse cut by Ben Foakes. Stuart Broad's done the job. He's got 2 wickets this morning. And now New Zealand 9 down. Disappointment for Jamieson. And it means that we're going to be entertained by Trent Bolt coming in at number 11.
He is not going to enjoy this, is he? He's going to be peppered with short balls here from Stuart Broad. There's only 4 balls left with this ball. It'd be interesting now with Trent Bolt out there. Do they need to take the new ball? I mean, they perhaps will. That's the way England usually go. But just pepper him with short deliveries. That's surely the way to go, certainly for these next 4 balls of this Stuart Broad over.
New Zealand would love another 20 runs, something above 280. Would love something like that. Still plenty of time in this Test match. England have done well. They've held their nerve this morning. Wickets didn't fall quite as quickly as perhaps they wanted, but they've gone bang, bang. Now a chance to bowl New Zealand out.
So he's level at the moment with Matai Muralitharan. 623 runs. And number 11 in Test cricket.
You'll know that.
Does he push for a single and raise his bat? Will anyone applaud him? Do they know what's going on, the crowd? We'll wait and see if that particular stat does the rounds here at Trent Bridge.
Well, he's going to get some short stuff, so he'll be very nervous about that. Doesn't like the ball being bowled halfway down. Or just Broad go full, do a double bluff here. The field set for something short, isn't it? But I wonder if it just goes a touch fuller.
We've got the square leg actually just coming in off the boundary at the moment. More of a catching position. In fact, now he's being sent back out again. Johnny Bairstow getting some steps on the clock there. So we've got a leg slip, short leg. Gully catching man at backward point as well. In comes Broad to Bolt. It is short. It's too far down the leg side, and Bolt comfortably ducks underneath that one, much to his relief. Broad with a bit of a stare, maybe a few words to Trent Bolt, who just smiles away, and off Broad goes.
Daryl Mitchell's got an important job to do here with Trent Bolt in terms of just calming him down, just talking to him, which he's doing now, which is good. Just saying, mate, that's okay, get underneath it. We need to bat for another 4 or 5 overs here, try and get another 15 to 20 runs. Don't take him on, just get out the way of it.
And the crowd geeing up the local boy Broad here as he charges in again around the wicket from the pavilion end, and Bolt goes for a pull, misses it. There's an appeal from Broad for a catch behind. Foakes was quite late actually to go up for that one. And Bolt again arguing there with Stuart Broad about something. In fact, he was signalling to the umpire there that it could have been another short delivery above shoulder height. I don't think it quite went over shoulder height, that one, to be honest. But Bolt appealing there. The 2 short ones for the over have already been signalled, so let's have another look at this on the Chemist Warehouse replay screen. It's touch and go.
Yeah. Was bowled as 2 short balls in the over, so he actually has to change what he's going to do. Is he just going to keep hitting a hard length, or is he going to go a bit fuller? Probably can't go full with this field set.
2 balls left in this over. Broad charges in once again. Another short delivery, and that's well played by Bolt. Just ducks underneath one again, just a tad too far down the leg side there from Broad. Broad and Mitchell having a few words now as well.
He's not shy of a few words, Daryl Mitchell. He's combative sort of personality. He likes being in the battle. So he'll have no qualms at all of just perhaps reminding Stuart Broad that he's still got a bat in this test match, and there'll be a couple coming his way. So just to remember that.
Not exactly a fan of those short deliveries either, is he?
No, he's not. So.
Right, got a silly bit off in place now as well. That man coming in on a catching position. Is it going to be full? In comes Broad once again. It's short again, and Bolt ducks underneath it once more. Well negotiated, actually, by Trent Bolt, that over. 80 overs gone then. The second new ball is due. We'll wait and see if England take that in just a moment's time, with New Zealand 249 for 9.
Izzy and Kempy kickstarting your weekday from 6 on SENZ.
And Daryl Mitchell pumps his fists. What a moment here at the home of cricket.
Daryl Mitchell's with us now. G'day, Des.
Hey, Izzy. How are you? How you going?
Very good, mate. Hey, just give you goosebumps hearing that again?
Yeah, no, it's actually the first time I've heard any commentary of it. Yeah, special moment I'll remember for the rest of my days.
Cam George, if you watched that last night,
man.
You want a 10-year coach going off of Billy Slater the town.
There's no chance.
Izzy and Kempy for breakfast. Weekdays from 6 on SENZ.
SENZ Test cricket for Reseen, the paint the professionals use. Back at Trent Bridge. And England haven't taken the second new ball. It is available right now, but it's going to be Ben Stokes to continue with the old cherry. 249 for 9, that lead for New Zealand, 263. Stokes into Mitchell. It's full and wide, and this time Mitchell does refuse the single as he just knocks it too long off. And this is the time he's not going to expose Trent Bolt to anything he doesn't need to here. Daryl Mitchell, we saw him happy to take the runs when Jameson and Henry were at the other end, but maybe a step too far here with the type of bowling that is expected to be bowled at Bolt.
Well, Trent Bolt's world's best number 11, so
he'd take that, wouldn't he, though? World's best number 11.
Yeah, well,
better than Jimmy.
The runs say that.
Indeed, in history. In comes Stokes, and this is left alone outside the off stump.
The interesting thing will be on balls 5 and 6 when the field comes up to try and keep Daryl Mitchell on strike so that they can bowl at Trent Bolt at the other end. Whether Mitchell decides to be aggressive and look for the boundary then, or how can he find a single to get down the other end and take the bowling from Stuart Broad? How will he play that out? Because at the moment the whole field's out, so Mitchell's happy just to let those balls go, take a majority of this over.
Literally everyone on the boundary apart from keeper and first slip. In comes Stokes, and this is flicked out towards deep backward square leg. Bolt's halfway down the track. And Mitchell did actually take a couple of steps down, just that instinct to say, yeah, there's a run there, but still 3 balls left in this over. Doesn't want to expose Bolt for more than 1 or 2.
So the gamesmanship will happen when there's 2 balls left in the over. What does Mitchell do? Does he look for a couple of boundaries to aid that New Zealand score, or does he try and find some way to keep the strike for the following over?
Stokes comes in to Mitchell again, who drives powerfully down towards long off. Will take the single this time, so will expose Bolt for those 2 deliveries in this over. Interesting. Field changes as predicted.
Has to be short, doesn't it?
Short leg. Looks as though he's going to put the lid on, get in place. We've still got a fine leg. It's quite square actually for that hook shot, deep mid wicket.
Doesn't play the hook shot, he plays the ramp because he's usually so far towards square leg trying to get out of the way of the ball that the hook shot's not in play.
Well, there's 2 men up there for that as well. A very, very fine man at deep third. And another sort of more conventional third position, actually just coming in a few yards off the boundary, so genuine catching position. Jimmy Anderson there at sort of gully backward point region, catching as well. In comes Stokes then to Bolt. It is short, and that's comfortable really. 80 miles an hour. It was heading way down the leg side, and Bolt taking a few steps to the off, ducking underneath it. One delivery to negotiate here. And one more run, as we said. Look at the stat there. 623 runs. Can he go clear of Murali today? Anderson might get a bat later on as well.
He's only 5 runs
618.
behind.
Good little battle there.
Well, there's only 2 of them on that graphic that are actually going to score more runs.
Yeah, Glenn McGrath and Murali, the other 2. In comes Stokes. He's coming round the wicket now. Final ball of this over to Bolt, who backs away and plays it down towards long on. There's a big gap there. He's going to get 2 quite comfortably. Well played, Trent Bolt, and congratulations on becoming the most successful number 11 in the history of Test cricket. I think the dressing room are certainly aware of that, because they're out there applauding him. He's got a smile on his face. He acknowledged his teammates up there. I'm not sure if the crowd here at Trent Bridge are quite aware of that. He gets a hug from his teammate as well, Daryl Mitchell. This is brilliant stuff. 252 for 9. That lead 266, and that was well placed as well.
Yeah, he would have been painful, Trent Bolt, over the last 3 or 4 days knowing about this record. He always says that he's the world's best number 11, and now he's actually got the runs to back it up. So it was Tim Southey that came outside the changing room to clap and applaud.
He averages 5 more than Murali as well.
Yeah,
so it's not just the runs, it's the average. It's everything. It's the entertainment.
I was going to say, he's probably been the most entertaining number 11 world cricket has seen.
Murali wasn't far off, but yeah, Bolt is right up there with the Courtney Walshes of this world. Right, Broad to continue then from the pavilion end into Mitchell. It's wide, it's cut away out towards deep point, refuses the single once more. Mitchell 45 from 118 deliveries. It's been a good innings. He's looked in control, hasn't he, Mitchell, throughout this innings. England did get a chance when he was on 3 in that first innings, went on to make 190, of course, scored 100 at Lord's. So he's in fabulous form, but it's been a chanceless innings, really.
Yep, he's been one of the few that has just looked absolute class, really. He's continuing on his good form from the first test.
In comes Broad again. This is short. It's hammered away out towards deep mid-wicket. That's 4 runs. No need to run for those. That was in the gap there. There's a couple of men out there on the rope. One at deep square leg, one at deep mid-wicket. Bisected the 2 beautifully. Raced away to the boundary.
Crunched it, didn't he? Broad didn't get it high enough. And we've seen Daryl Mitchell on the pull shot. Very strong. That's well in front of square. Almost gone through mid-wicket. So he got onto it nice and early. Nice boundary for New Zealand. Mitchell moves up to 49. It's been some test match for him.
That lead now 270. Broad in once more, and this time it's short, it's edged, and it's down towards fine leg for 4 more. Well, I said it was a chanceless innings. That was a chance for England, almost dragging one on, but he brings up his 50 with another boundary there. Daryl Mitchell, 190 in the first innings, 53 not out in the second. But more significantly for New Zealand, that lead creeps up to 274.
Yep, these runs are important. Quality knock from Daryl Mitchell. Gee, he's been good this series. He's had to bat at a different tempo this innings to what he did in the first and at Lord's, but he's doing a great job. Great job.
Broad, and again, this is wide of the off stump, and he can't quite get it away that time, Mitchell. It just trickles away to Broad off the under edge. Still 260 for 9 then. A couple of balls left in this over, so this is where he perhaps looks for a single. Maybe exposes Bolt to 1 delivery if he can. Nice round of applause there for Mitchell as he brought up that half-century. Without his runs in this match, would have been a very different story. At Lord's 13 and 108, here 190 and 53. Broad into him again, and this is defended back down the pitch. Can't get another, get it past Broad again.
Right,
Field's in his follow-through, so this is it. Field comes up now. Final ball of the over.
Does he look to take another 4 runs if he can, or is there some way he can get a single?
Might be disappointed he was unable to get that previous one away for a single. He maybe not enough wrist work involved in trying to just flick that leg side. It was angled into him. Just couldn't quite poke it past Broad, or wide enough of Broad in his follow-through to get through for that single. Now there's a conventional ring on the offside. Got a mid-on and a mid-wicket there. There's a gap at square leg, or just backward of square on the leg side. Can he get back on strike for the start of the next over? In comes Broad. Mitchell backs away and drives straight to mid-on. He can't. Trent Boult was braced there, wasn't he, to run through and try and scamper a quick single. It wasn't to be. End of the over, New Zealand 260 for 9.
From first-time browsing to big-time arousing, Sexyland is all about fun. We have Australia's biggest range of sexy costumes, couples' toys, fun gifts and games for adults. And our team of fun specialists are always here to help in-store and online. Sexyland opens 7 days until midnight at Morphett Vale and Clovelly Park, or shop online and get 2-hour delivery.
Baby Bunting stock take sale is on now. Big savings on selected Bugaboo prams, up to $240 off selected cotton mattress packages, plus great deals on selected car seats, Manchester and more. Sale on now. Bye, Baby Bunting. See website for exclusions.
Hello, I'm Jane Doyle from 7 News. We'll get answers to the pressing questions. Interest rates, groceries, hikes in petrol, Adelaide's transport issues.
Know the news. 7 News, every night at 6 o'clock.
Test cricket for Reseen, the paint the professionals use. England still not taking this new ball that is available. Ben Stokes to continue from the Ratcliffe Road end. It's going to be Trent Boult here on strike for the start of this new over. This will be interesting. Got the fielders backward of square on both the off and the leg side. Short leg in place as well. In comes Stokes. Boult backs away and hammers this out towards long on. There's a massive gap there. It plugs a little bit in the outfield and he gets back for 2. Interestingly, I'm surprised they didn't just settle on the single there.
Yes,
Boult fancies it.
Interesting option, you're right. It's a step away fly swat is that shot from Trent Boult. It's rather ungainly. There's nothing pretty about it, but it's effective. It's like he's got a tennis racket and he's hitting an overhead serve.
He will tell you he placed that beautifully, as he did. In comes Stokes once more. Boult moves offside, backs away, has another swat at this one down the ground. This is going to go for 4, I think. It's trickling away. And it reaches the rope. Well, there are some big open gaps down the ground for Trent Boult to have a go. It was short, but Stokes is down on pace at the moment. It's sort of late 70s, just touching 80 miles an hour. Not quite short enough, and Boult able to get good contact on those last couple. That lead creeping up now, 280.
Yeah, it's ungainly, isn't it? But it's effective at the moment for New Zealand. That's the main thing. Got enough bat on that one for it just to trickle over the boundary line. Ben Stokes says, right, I'm going to change things up. I'm going to come around the wicket.
He's hopping around out there as well, isn't he, Boult? He's happy with himself.
Can't stand
He's loving
still. Cannot stand still at the crease. He'll be so nervous.
All right, probably back away leg side here, won't he, as Stokes comes around the wicket. He does, and he swats this one. That's a much better shot, hammered through extra cover. Didn't quite get all of it, but enough to get to the boundary comfortably. This is good stuff from Trent Boult, entertaining and very, very useful runs here for New Zealand. 12 from 9. That lead, 284.
He's hard to bowl to because he actually moved across as a pre-movement. Stokes wasn't sure which way he was going to go, and then he just swatted it over cover. But England haven't attacked the stumps, so LBW and Boult are out of play. Look, I'm not sure. Yes, they had some success with Broad and Jameson, but I think they have to bring the stumps into play here with Trent Boult, and probably should take the second new ball.
Stokes in once more. It's again short, and this time he misses it. Boult, as he looks to pull that one away, leg side. He's disappointed with himself. It's through to Folkes, and there is no run. 270 for 9. Mitchell just having a word with Boult there. Couple of balls left in this over. What's the plan here? Well, they don't want to be taking a single, do they?
You see high successful run chases by England here at Trent Bridge. Time they beat us in 2004.
Yeah, mentioned that earlier.
So they've done it before. They've got history, England, which is why I still think they're favourites at this stage to chase down this total.
Stokes in again, and this time Bolt. Oh, what a shot that is. That has been creamed through a straightish mid-wicket. There was a dive, all in vain from the fielder. It was about 30 yards away or so from Bolt there. That was dismissive.
Well, it's a Trent Bolt masterclass. Number 11. He's just putting a little bit of icing on the cake here for New Zealand. Again, short. I don't quite understand this thinking, because it plays into Trent Bolt's strength. Now, England are going to have their highest ever run chase here at Trent Bridge.
Stokes in again, and Bolt plays and misses at this one. Another short delivery, safely through 2 folks. Mitchell will be on strike for the start of a new over. We'll take a short break, after which Henry Moran will be taking up the reins with New Zealand, 274 for 9.
Hello, I'm Jane Doyle from 7 News. We'll get answers to the pressing questions. Interest rates, groceries, hikes in petrol, Adelaide's transport issues.
Know the news. 7 News. Every night at 6 o'clock.
Time for the new ball.
Welcome back to Trent Bridge, SENZ Test Cricket. As drinks are being taken, an hour's play has gone. 2 wickets have fallen, but England are being frustrated. The lead's up to 288, with Mitchell having passed 50 again. He's 53 not out. Trent Bolt having bludgeoned 16 from 12 balls. Now, Craig McMillan, why are England bowling it short again and again and again? They're getting clobbered around the ground. This happened against India at Lord's last year. It cost them arguably the game. And they said afterwards, we should have done that.
Well, they've had some success with it this morning, haven't they? They got Matt Henry and Kyle Jamieson with the short ball. So that would be their thinking, that they'll just continue to bounce out this New Zealand lower order. But watched a lot of Trent Bolt over the years, and he is quite dangerous with that short ball, because he can uppercut it, he can fly swat it, he can pull it, he can top edge it, and it just flies all over the place. He hits the ball in funny areas. So you're better to be more conservative when you're bowling to him. Just look to hit the stumps, attack the stumps, bring an orthodox field into play, maybe 1 or 2 fielders out where he might top edge one. But it's a useful partnership at 25. Just push that lead out to 288, which, that's going to be the highest chase ever on this ground in the history of Test cricket at Trent Bridge. So we're in for an entertaining afternoon, that's for sure.
Dare I say it, but with the most successful fast bowler in history twiddling his thumbs and a new ball available, they are allowed to try and get these 2 out in a conventional fashion.
Yeah, they are, and I would think that that's the discussion going on at the drinks break right now. We've done plan A, we've done it okay, we've picked up 2 wickets. Right, let's go plan B, take the second new ball, go back to Broad and Anderson, and let's go back to conventional, couple of slips, catches in play. Let's pick up this final wicket, get in and have a bat.
Well, it's the sort of day where you can feel the energy slightly slipping away from a fielding side when a partnership like this builds. And all credit to Trent Bolt, who looks like he's having the time of his life now. He's passed the milestone of becoming the most successful number 11 in history, passing Matami Uritha in this innings. He's on to 16 from 12, and he's been smacking it all over Trent Bridge.
Yeah, he's been having a bit of fun. That's what he does. He's a nervous batter. But look, England, the total at the moment is 288.
To chase.
There's 75, so lose 2 for change of innings, so say 73 overs. It's only a required rate of 3.8. England went at 4.2 in that first innings that they played here. So I still think it's well within their grasp. So I don't think they'll be too nervous about things yet. If New Zealand can put on another 20 or 25 runs, which maybe is asking a little bit too much, but you never know, the way Trent Bolt and Daryl Mitchell have been playing, then I think things start to get really interesting. At the moment, not so much. Throw on another 20 runs, 25 runs, and you lose another 5 or 6 overs, and then it's game on.
Second new ball has been taken.
Has it?
There we go. Well, 3 overs after it was available, finally Stuart Broad does have that new Duke's ball in his hand. And there is a slip in place, just the one. And the field is out. Happy to see Mitchell just push it anywhere he likes and taking a single. As Broad runs in. 274 for 9. Cloudy skies over Trent Bridge. Broad steaming in, left alone by Mitchell, who very happy just to watch that through.
I think we should say that too, whatever England end up chasing, that this is still a very good batting pitch, especially when you've got New Zealand's number 11 coming in and moving his way through to 16. It is a good batting surface. To take 10 wickets in effectively 2 sessions is going to be very difficult for New Zealand.
But this is a funny old game. Right, here comes Stuart Broad, and this is pushed into space in the offside, but he won't take a single as Ollie Pope jogs in from deep backward point. And it feels increasingly like we're getting weird outcomes on final days in the last few years, just because of the nature of how people play and the fact that somebody can score 150 in a session, and teams do it, and it's not so peculiar.
I think England scored 148 in one of their batting sessions the other day in their first innings. So, which means it's going to be a really entertaining couple of sessions of Test cricket. It's going to be fascinating.
Broad into Bolton Mitchell, who helps that into the leg side. Folks will trot round to pick up. There won't be a run taken. So 3 balls left of the over.
So even this is still benefiting New Zealand, because you're taking overs out of the game, which then makes England have to score a bit quicker and perhaps play a little bit more aggressively than what they'd like. I mean, the new ball will be crucial for New Zealand. That will be the key. I'll be really interested to see what New Zealand go with, whether Tim Southee opens up with the new ball or whether Matt Henry gets the new ball in this second innings. I have a feeling that it might be just worth a change after that first innings.
Broad in. Full delivery, clipped out towards deep mid-wicket. They push hard for the first run, could be a second. Bolt is keen to set off. The throw comes in, but not in time, so 2 runs added. The lead reaches 290. Good batting and running between Mitchell and Bolt. Mitchell advances to 53.
Yeah, there's some big gaps in the field, so Mitchell will try and weight the ball that he can pick up 2s. Everyone pretty much back on the boundary, barring Joe Root at first slip, so some wide spaces out there. If Mitchell can access, he can get those 2s, which will frustrate Stuart Broad. He wants to be bowling at Trent Bolt.
Broad in. Ooh, is that an edge? There's an appeal from Joe Root at first slip. He chased it, did Mitchell. It moved just a little bit away, but not enough conviction from Root to force the review. And just a little false shot from somebody that has been outstanding in the last, 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, that moved a lot. I mean, away from the right-handed Daryl Mitchell. The first 4 balls have done nothing. And then all of a sudden that has swung and then seamed away. Mitchell thought, I'll just have a wee drive at that. Flash past the outside edge. The field comes up, and now discussions between Broad and Anderson. I think last ball of the previous over Broad bowled to Mitchell was a Yorker. He went full and straight, didn't he? That Mitchell hit to mid-on hard, couldn't get the single. Wonder whether he'll go for the same thing.
Well, the suggestion is that there's not going to be anything towards the pads of Daryl Mitchell, or indeed even towards the stumps.
It's go wide.
Going to be wide outside that off stump with a field packed inside what would be, in one-day cricket, the 30-yard circle, and just hope that there's enough bodies in there to stop the ball if it makes it out that way.
I mean, this Harry was dismissed in the first innings for 190, wasn't it? Chasing one of those really wide deliveries, so it looks like that's the method Stuart Broad's going to use.
Broad running in, final ball of the over. 2-7-6 for 9 is the score. This is hit down the ground, fabulous shot, 4 runs. A meaty blow.
Try 6.
6 it is. Blimey. He got hold of that. Woof, what a shot.
That is some shot, Henry. Ends the over. New Zealand 282 for 9. The lead's now 296, but a couple of steps down the wicket. He's a strong man. He really is.
End of the over then. 282 for 9 here on SENZ.
This is Ben Stiller, Goodwill Ambassador for UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. Your help is needed now. Vulnerable people are being forced to flee. They need emergency shelter. They need blankets and basic relief items. Please go online to unrefugees.org.au to give what you can today. Families are scared and need life-saving support. Australians can make a difference. Just go online to unrefugees.org.au.
Test cricket on SENZ with Razine, the paint the professionals use. Jimmy Anderson, the most successful fast bowler in the history of this game, has been handed the ball looking to wrap things up in this innings. Mitchell's just bludgeoned 6 down the ground to take the lead up to 296. Trent Bolt, who's got 16, will be on strike. England, when dealing with the tail, remind me of a James Bond villain. Right.
Tell me.
Because you know when you're watching a James Bond film and they get the job done, and then they say, well, I'll leave the room now, you're with the shark-infested tank, and then he escapes. Here comes Anderson, big swing and a miss, and immediately Bolt looks discomforted by somebody bowling towards the stumps. And England's way of dealing with the tail in recent years has been a bit like that. You do the hard bit, you've caught them, you leave them and you think, well, just finish them off, get it done. Why are you taking anything to chance? And then there's always just that moment they take the step away and, oh, well, my job here is done.
Turn their back.
Just...
Well, this partnership's 33 now.
Yeah, it's caused...
And who knows, Henry, later in the day we might be looking back on this very moment of the test match and saying it was crucial.
Indeed. Here comes Anderson again, sprinting in past the umpire. And Bolt will get one into the leg side, nicely played, stepping across his stumps and whipping it out towards deep square leg.
So while Trent Bolt might be uncomfortable because James Anderson's going to be attacking the stumps and trying to get him out in a conventional manner, he'll be a lot more calmer because the lack of pace, so his safety is not an issue now. Whereas his safety is an issue facing Stokes, Broad going short. Now safety's not an issue. He's comfortable with the pace of Anderson. He's not going to get hurt. He can just manoeuvre it around, so that's good. Interesting that Anderson's only into his 9th over of the innings. When you look at all the other amount of overs from all the other England bowlers.
Anderson into Bolt and Mitchell, who's advancing, dropping the ball into space and trusting Trent Bolt enough to see him through for a single. The lead 2 away now from 300 for the Black Caps.
I mean, Stuart Broad's bowled 20 overs, Ben Stokes 17. Why is he being so underbowled this innings?
He's got a weird statistical quirk in recent years, Anderson, in that he's really not taken as many wickets as he should have done in second innings. And whether that is chance, circumstance, I mean, it's not typically been because a spinner's been ripping them out. That's not really been the way England have done it. No. But maybe it's something to do with his age. We don't know. But that has been a certain issue. Trent Bolt on strike, hitting the ball in the air, out. Ben Stokes takes the catch at mid-off. The new ball works for England. Jimmy Anderson works for England. The innings comes to an end and England will need 1 shy of 300 to win this test match. We're set for a thriller here on SENZ. Relief for England. Credit to Trent Bolt. Valuable runs. And the cry of "Oh, Jimmy, Jimmy," as we see on the Chemist Warehouse replay. A cross-batted slap straight to the hands of the England skipper at mid-off. And the innings concludes, Craig McMillan.
Flat batted to mid-off, wasn't it, from Bolt? Didn't get any elevation. Big smile on the face of Ben Stokes. Anderson does the job. 299 the target. We're set up for a thriller here, I reckon. Useful partnership for the last wicket. 35 between Daryl Mitchell. Should mention Daryl Mitchell, who ended up 62 not out to back up his 190 in the first innings. Quite phenomenal effort with the bat by Daryl Mitchell. And this crowd that was beginning and continuing to build, I think are set for an entertaining afternoon's day of Test cricket.
A reminder of what Stuart Broad said earlier on today. The England fast bowler who had been busy this morning with the old ball and new. He said to our colleagues on the BBC earlier on today, we will go for anything. That's the mindset. Whatever comes our way, we're going to have a look at it. Well, what has come their way is a target of 299 in a little under 2.5 sessions.
Yeah.
Restart in about 10 minutes or so. Where do you see it?
I think England's nose is in front. I think the new ball will be crucial for New Zealand. They have to get two. They have to get 2 wickets up front. And then Joe Root. I mean, what else can you say about Joe Root? New Zealand have to find a way to dismiss him for something under 50 probably. That would be a good result. And if they can do that, then it's going to put some pressure on the rest of that batting lineup. But I think it's one of those ones you can flip a coin, but the new ball at the start will be key. So Bolt, Southey and Henry have to be on song. No Jameson for New Zealand. And Michael Bracewell's going to play an important role with the ball, the off spinner as well. I expect to see some overs from Daryl Mitchell as well. It's just going to be a fascinating 2.5 sessions of play.
So the innings played out with Tom Latham out early doors for 4. Will Young made 56. Devon Conway 52. Henry Nichols was uncomfortable, making just 3. Tom Blundell 24. Michael Bracewell 25. In the second innings from just 17 balls, Tim Southey was run out, having faced just 1. Matt Henry played a useful knock, 18 from 46. Carl Jameson 1 from 6, and Trent Bolt the final wicket to fall, 17 from 15. Not out at the end. Daryl Mitchell, outstanding series he's having so far. He 62 not out, but England will be frustrated having seen New Zealand at 213 for 7, managing to reach 284. Again, the tail wagging in a test match against England. We're going to take a little break here on SENZ. We're in the mid-innings break, and New Zealand, having been bowled out for 284, the target for England will be 299.